The White Sox suck. Simple as that. There's some teams out there that will say, hey, we have a slow start, but we believe that our team is talented enough for us to get it together. It is a very long season. I feel like if you ask Padre fans about the start of the season, they would say, hey, we've been bad, but we feel like things are going to get better. Juan Soto's going to have to start swinging his bat for that to be the case, but we think that he will, I guess. The White Sox, there's no light at the end of the tunnel, man. This is going on for way too long. The team has been offered from the players to the management to the front office to the ownership, and we are fed up. I made a tweet yesterday saying that if the White Sox didn't win their next game, which is against the Red Hot Rays, that I would make a video. And they proceeded to lose by, I think, 10 runs. I turned it off after the 6th. I did. And I kept getting notifications, oh, this player did this, and there was another run for the Rays. And I was like, oh, okay, we must have a position player pitching. So I turned it back on, and it's Kendall Graveman. It's Joe Kelly. These are real-life pitchers that we have to rely on for the course of 100 and whatever games. I thought Alberto was back throwing meatballs. Instead, it was the people that we pay to throw pitches. I know there's going to be some White Sox fans that maybe watch this video and have the, not excuses, but like the ideas that, hey, if you look at it, the White Sox have had the second hardest schedule to start off the season behind, I think, only the Detroit Tigers. And I also think another AL Central team is up there. So, you know, I don't know who was making the schedule, but they gave us a rough start. You can look at the injuries of Tim Anderson having his freak injury, or Joe Kelly running out of the bullpen during a scuffle and getting injured that way. I just got a notification that Yoan Moncada's dealing with a disc injury. We knew he's injured, but a disc? That don't sound good. So understand that to start the season, it hasn't been in our favor, but that's not that big of an excuse to me. My connection with the Chicago White Sox goes as deep as it really can. So deep that, like, on my other channels, the Chicago White Sox cap had become a staple in my community. From the very first video where I was on camera, I had a White Sox hat on. Like many of us diehards, I have a tattoo on my leg to represent the White Sox. And though I fell out of love with baseball for a good period of time, I would say, I always still had love for my White Sox, and it still is the case today. And that is the reason why I'm making this video, because we are fed up. I mean, I feel like I'm a broken record because I have these conversations about the White Sox. I have the same conversation about the Chicago Bulls. It's like, how and why did my father love the city so much that he put that into me? Especially when you consider there's another team across the town that's at least decent, good future ahead of them, playing good ball, and is the more popular team. They have the better ballpark. We are the little brother in our own city when it comes to baseball, and that's never really bothered me. I knew that from a very young age. The Cubs were the more popular team in Chicago. It's never bothered me. But we have a payroll of $200 million, and we are the second worst team in baseball only because the Oakland Athletics still exist. So we fed up. And I want to give a huge shout out. I want to give a huge shout out to the hottest man in Chicago right now. Is it Berto? Guy calls into sports radio and gives 7 minutes of pure flames about the Chicago White Sox, and he didn't stutter and he didn't say anything incorrectly.
In the 15 years of Rick Hahn, we have been a constant experiment that has never panned out. In the 25 years of Kenny Williams, we had exactly one season of excellence with a perfect storm of players that has not once come even close to being the same.
He's probably the second greatest Chicagoan after Oprah. After that might have been the greatest call-in sports radio moment ever. Like maybe ever. And again, no last told at all. So I woke up this morning and I'm subscribed to a lot of different newsletters and stuff because I think it's hard to keep up with baseball when you're also keeping up with the NBA playoffs and all of that stuff. So of course I don't get to watch every single game. So I woke up this morning and The Athletic had their newsletter, and one of the headlines was Chicago White Sox deadline dealers. I'm not ready for that, and I'm not ready for it. Not because I think that there's a lot of life in this team, because if you've been watching over the last 2 seasons, there's not a lot of life. But because under this current regime, I can't convince myself that a rebuild is going to be worth it, because we just did the rebuild, and this is the outcome. Like, bro, on paper, like if you just look on paper at the names and some of the best moments and the best, I don't know, from the players on our roster, you would think that the White Sox are like that. And a couple years ago, a lot of people predicted that the White Sox could be like that. and they shat the bed. Oh man, and Tony La Russa was the main reason. At least that's what we thought. The man was sleeping behind the wheel, literally and figuratively. And there are so many different things that he did wrong. He took the life and the joy out of this young, up-and-coming team with a lot of great prospects and a great future, and he took it away. And then he's out of there. So we like, yes, I came into the season like, boy, oh boy, I don't have the expectations of us being a World Series favorite or finalist or anything. But even my no expectations, they've let me down. They've let me down. I can't believe that we went through one manager that did a terrible job managing a bullpen just to bring another one in. And I was listening to Lucas Giolito before the season started. He was talking about how the new mantra in the locker room is one series at a time. And I was like, okay, that sounds cool, right? That sounds great. Dog, we ain't won back-to-back games all season long. We just had a series against the Blue Jays that was 3 games. The total runs in this series was 20-2. We put up 2 runs in a series of 3. I can't make it up. We have the second worst pitching in baseball. And again, it's only second because the Oakland Athletics kind of exist. I'm very envious of a lot of y'all that aren't White Sox fans because I see moments where Shohei Ohtani or Mike Trout. Listen, I'm not saying that the Angels are this pillar of greatness because they have Shohei and Mike Trout and haven't made a playoff series together, but they have moments where Shohei or Mike Trout hits a home run or even somebody else and they have the samurai samurai helmet, whatever, in celebration. The Royals, the goddamn Royals, have a home run celebration mask like the Gladiators. They got something. You had the wheelbarrow back in the day with the Boston Red Sox. And there's just so much fun in baseball right now. And we ain't got a lick of it. I haven't had a single moment other than, I would say, the season opener. I haven't had a single moment of smiling while watching the White Sox. And guess what? I have not missed a game. Now, I'm not saying I'm sitting down and watching every game tentatively, but I'm either listening to it if I'm on the road or whatever. I'm always there. Haven't had one moment. Not one. Other than, of course, Megan Thee Stallion throughout the first pitch. I think we all was feeling good about that game. You know what I'm saying? You know what? That's not true. Our friend Jake Berger has been raking, and we love that for him. Shout out to Jake Berger, who might be he might be the Chicago White Sox representative for the All-Star game this season. And that comes from Jay Cutler, who's one of my favorite and least favorite Twitter follows of all time. A lot of crazy out of nowhere tweets, random analytics, random things like what teams have A's in their names, and there's a graph to represent a lot of funny stuff. But deep down in the root of it is a bunch of tweets about the Chicago White Sox and how bad they are. And I know that they're bad, but even seeing the tweets associated with it makes it even worse. I want to go through some of Jay's tweets from just, let's say, the last 72 hours or so. The White Sox are the first team in baseball history to strike out 40 plus times with an OPS that is less than 325 in any 4-game span. I'm sure that's significant to someone, but it's not very significant to me. I'm just going to assume that means that we suck. He's also been doing these uniform trackers, and he's been doing it for a few years now. And I used to have a lot of fun here because it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we wear the black jerseys. We're really good. But on the contrary, we are 0-7 in the black jerseys this year. Here's a tweet from the Blue Jays game a couple nights ago. This is the 3rd career start for Kikuchi of 95 with 0 runs allowed and 8+ strikeouts. Last time was the first time Jose Barrios had 8+ strikeouts and 0 runs allowed in over 2 years. People are tweeting at me saying, yo, Kenny, Jose's back, Barrios back. And I was telling them, hold your horses. Now, he might be, but he's just going against the White Sox. And again, I think the fans just deserve better. Also saw this on Reddit, which I thought was beautiful because we as fans can't do much. We can make as many billboards as we want that says Jerry sell the team, or make as many tweets or threads or whatever. And a lot of the time it doesn't matter because it doesn't mess with the bottom line of the organization. This comes from Constant Gardner 11 on Reddit. The average home attendance for the White Sox is declined the most across baseball. Which is by 21%. Now, part of that is because the weather here in Chicago hasn't been great for baseball yet, but we aren't seeing similar numbers for the other team, the North Sider. So I think it also has to do with the fans just like, hey, why the hell should I pull up to the ballpark just to see my team get slaughtered. We went to the home opener, me and the guys. We were so excited. You know, it's versus the Giants. It's a packed house. It's cold. It's rainy, but hell, baseball is back, and we're here for our favorite team. And then we proceeded to see Michael Kopech give up home run after home run after home run after home run. And then John Boy had to drop a video talking about how he was potentially tipping pitches. So it's been a lot this season, and none of it has been fun. We see that Brian Reynolds signs a contract with the Pittsburgh Pirates worth over $100 million. You see the tweet. There's only 3 organizations left in baseball that's never given out a contract over $100 million, and we are one of them. We are in Chicago. And though, again, we are the little brother when it comes to baseball, there's tons of White Sox fans. And when the playoffs are here, and if we're involved in it, we go back out the house. This is a market to build a team and give out contracts, man. But the ownership, the Bulls, owned by the Reinsdorf family as well, they don't like to spend money. They just don't. And I think fans in general, and not just the White Sox, deserve owners that are willing to try to put together the best product imaginable. Benintendi has been better, but he is the highest paid player, highest contract free agent acquisition for the White Sox in history. And if you look at his baseball savant, it's like it's cold as hell in there. There's so many other things that I could potentially talk about if you want to get into the numbers and stuff, but I don't typically have a script with these type of things, and I'm just going to leave it at that. Loving baseball, hating the White Sox, even though we love the White Sox.